Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to welcome. You want me to switch on the video?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Nice.
Is the network able to take the load today?
Yes. No issue.
Good afternoon, everyone, to the fifth session of today's course on our course on seed. Today is the fifth session, and it's my privilege to welcome Mr. Sundara Bharathi. Mr. Bharathi is an academic with degrees in English literature, with research degrees. He also has a B.Ed degree to his credit, and he has taught English literature at prestigious universities, prestigious institutions of the Tamil Nadu University. Presently, he is working as an academic secretary in the Velankani group of schools. We look forward to your session, sir, which is very interestingly termed as Back to Basics. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Bharathi, you will have to unmute. You are muted.
Okay, shall I begin then?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that very brief but great introduction. And let me begin by first thanking the people who are responsible for me being on this platform today, meeting so many students. First, I would like to thank Mr. N.C. Balachandran, because he's the one who referred me to Madam Nirmala Muralidhar. And I would also like to thank Mr. Bhanukumar, who is at the helm of all these things. And I think Janki Devi Memorial College is doing great service to the students by providing them these kinds of inputs, which are sure going to have a great impact in their lives later on, when they go for a career or for even entrepreneurship. And let me start my little contribution by telling you why this topic was chosen. This is my favorite topic, right? Many people have an idea that basics would mean something retro. But I believe there are certain skills that everybody needs, whether we are aided by technology or not. Let me tell you a small incident from my own life, right? I was invited to make such a presentation in an institution, and I went there with everything, all these gadgets ready, right? I had my laptop, I had a PowerPoint presentation, and just in case, I had it in two different devices, right? One in a pen drive, the same presentation on CD. I went there and I found that they did not have a projector, right? They said, sir, you said you will make a presentation, but we didn't know that you would be making a PowerPoint presentation. And I said, no problem. If there is no way to make a PowerPoint presentation, let me make a powerful presentation at least. And that is how the session went, right? I didn't even have notes in my hands. I had not made notes, taking for granted that all facilities would be intact in that institution. But unfortunately, nothing was available. So the basics stood me there, right? The basics supported me there. I was able to talk to them, and I went even beyond the time that was given to me. No, not to worry. Today, I'm not going to do that, right? I will keep to time, because that would be doing justice to the next topic that has been entrusted to me. Yes. This session is going to be all about communication skills in general, and presentation skills in particular. Why communication skills? Now, not all students are blessed with a life in a cosmopolitan city. I have seen many students from the rural side, and once a student named Krishna Veni, she came and her advisor came to me saying that you teach English, and this student is from the rural side. She has never been in an English medium institution, and now she is in the first year of her engineering degree program, and she finds it very difficult to follow all the subjects, which are all in English. The lectures are in English, her books are in English. This is the first time she sees so much English. And we were able to give her first the courage to meet these challenges. And then we were able to provide her the additional assistance that was required to bring her on par with her fellow students. Believe me, that lady is working in the UK now. She came from a very small village. Her parents couldn't even sign, right? Only one of her parents could place the signature. But those two parents have visited the United Kingdom and managed to be there for almost 3 months. I wonder how. Things change. And when things change, we need to change ourselves. That is called adaptation. I hope to make small, at least a good impact in your lives by the presentation that I'm going to make. And let me begin the presentation now. Yes. Here we are. Back to the basics, and the subtitle is communication skills and presentation skills. Well, these are the skills that are responsible for me having reached the capital of the nation today, right? If my communication skills and if my presentation skills had not been good, I wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be listening to me either, right? Now, the question arises, right? Why basics? Do you think at the collegiate level, at the tertiary level, at the higher education level, do we need to know basics, or what is there to know about basics? And I'm going to tell you this, right? You know about NASSCOM, right? You know, that is an organization that is responsible for making sure that the industry, particularly the IT industry and the ITES industry, information technology and information technology enabled services, they get skilled people. There are a number of graduates waiting to get employed, but not all those graduates have all the skills required to be employable. So employability is a bigger problem than unemployment. That is what NASSCOM found a few years ago. And it has, since then, it has been working to provide training to students in soft skills. And under soft skills, communication skills do have a major role to play. They are one of the most important soft skills. This slide says very clearly, skills is one of the most critical foundation elements of a nation's economic growth. Skills, by skills, we mean if you have the ability to do something, it's called skill, right? What's the point in knowing English if you can't use English? The world is on the cusp of Industry 4.0, and Indian technology sector hopes to fuel this change. This you can find right at the beginning of the About You section of NASSCOM. An Indian technology sector hopes to fuel this change. How could they fuel this change? The need of an industry-ready and job-ready workforce has never been more significant. The industries, they're waiting to employ people, but they don't get people whom they can employ really. The problem is employability, as I already said. So there we go. Let us see what communication is all about, right? Communication is not about speaking alone. Communication is intensely and exclusively effective among human beings. We know that. It makes life easier, better, and interesting. And if you're going to ask me, don't the other creatures communicate among themselves? Yes, they do communicate, but there is a limitation to their communication. Whereas we communicate a lot, we communicate from one generation to another, and that is how a lot of information has reached us. We have accumulated, I deliberately use the word accumulated. We have accumulated a lot of information, so much so that big data has become one of the most preferred areas of both development and employment. Well, what about communication? When does it begin? How does it make life easier? When people talk, when people exchange ideas, when people exchange concepts, when people exchange their feelings and emotions, life is made easy and life becomes better. Yes, and it becomes interesting as well. It begins, that is, communication begins in the very early stages of human life, and it remains useful throughout till the very end, right? As long as we are able to communicate, life is meaningful. Now let us watch this young man who is no longer that young. Let us watch what he has to say. You know about Hanging Garden in Mumbai, right? And this boy is called Ravi. Probably some of you have watched this video, and maybe you have watched many of his videos. Excuse me, please. Just a moment. Give me a moment. I forgot to share the audio as well. It happens.
Learned. First, English I learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I learned 10. I say $1, $2, $3, $4, and this I learned. And then many people say the question me how much, I don't know, and just come to my first sister how much means how much the price, and bye bye. I learned first English, and then my grandmother, all the sister is married and is go to in their husbands, my like family from going out, and with my grandmother I am selling, and because my grandmother very hard work, now I am also talent, and now I know 10 language, and I'm very world famous. I know 10 language, internet my inside very big video, and I know the English, French, Italian, German, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, Arabic, Iranian, Russian. How to sell just I know, and I know 6% like 5% every language, and English I know pretty much maybe 40-50%.
Do you know what he sells? Does anyone know? Maybe you have seen some of his videos, watched some of his videos, and maybe you know what he sells. He says it is useful for me to sell, knowing at least 10 languages. He says he knows 5 to 6% of all the languages that he uses, and English is more confident. Do you know what he sells? Must be a big businessman. Does anyone know? I'm just trying to find out if you are sharing it. No. He sells hand fans made out of peacock feathers to tourists who come and visit the Hanging Garden in Mumbai. And he has been so successful that he has been able to marry his sister off, and he has been able to support his grandmother who takes care of him. That is his family, that's all. And he has reached a stage when he is self-sufficient and quite well off. Believe me, this gentleman, when he grew up, he was given an opportunity to speak at TED Talks. That is where communication skills or excellence in communication skills can take you. Now, you are going to ask me, his English is not that very good, but does he communicate or not is my question. And I'm sure you will all agree with me when I say, yes, he's able to communicate. He's able to communicate what he thinks, what he feels, right? And that is why probably this statesman, right, this gentleman who was one of the former prime ministers of the United Kingdom said so. Many a professional man, his name is Gladstone, right, Henry Gladstone, many a professional man now in obscurity might have risen to the highest rank if he had been far-seeing enough to train his voice. Most people don't have this far-sight to understand that their voices should reach more people. Their language should be appealing to more people, attractive to more people, right? And if they do that, if they train their voice, that is the meaning of training the voice, right? It is not modulation alone, it is language. If they train themselves in the language well enough, they would have been successful in their chosen area of career, whatever be the career, right? He talks from a politician's viewpoint, but his idea is applicable to everybody, right? I have seen many people, many students, right? All these years I've seen students, we have trained students, and we have placed students. I find that sometimes we get those students back, coming back to us saying that I could not survive after a year or two. And those people who could not survive a year or two, a considerable number of them could not survive because their communication skills were not that very good. They were not communicative. Some of them were not communicative. Some of them did not have the ability to communicate. So that is why we need this. And if you're going to ask me, what are the requirements for improving communication skills? It's so simple, right? Exposure, practice, and milieu. These are the 3 requirements. And if you're going to ask me, yes, you get a lot of exposure if you are into a family that is educated, right? That if the other members, that is, if your parents are educated, if your grandparents are educated, well, you belong to a family full of educated people, you are going to get exposure, good exposure right at home. And if you join an institution where communication is happening everywhere, communication is at its best everywhere, you are getting good exposure. Apart from this, what are the other sources for exposure is what we are going to see in the subsequent slides. And the next one is, it is not enough if you get exposure. You read a lot, you listen to a lot, and after that, you need to speak a lot. After that, you need to practice, right? Exposure should be followed by experience. You have to experience in the sense that you have to start communicating yourself, right? And milieu, this has always been a very important factor. One of the reasons why I am quite comfortable with communication is that I had friends also who were good in communication skills. I did not choose my friends. I was lucky because it just happened, right? I had friends all around me who were really very good. Okay. Any doubts so far? I can be a little bit loud, Anshul. Thank you very much for that input. That will change the way I talk from now on. Milieu is the kind of people you are with. At home, it means the people at home. In the college, it means your classmates. And outside the classroom, it means your college mates. And when you go socialize, it means the kind of people you socialize with. So if your milieu is going to be right, your communication skills are going to be excellent, right? Because they provide you ample opportunity to improve your communication skills. The resources that could be useful, believe me, there are many resources that are being put to maximum use nowadays in all institutions, particularly in schools. You have multimedia. Yes, there are smart boards in almost every classrooms. Where there are no smart boards, there are projectors, and projectors are used. So it's every education, every bit of education, every part of education, every phase of education has become an audio-visual treat nowadays. So you see text, read it. You listen to sound, imbibe it. You see graphics, and you get a better understanding of the text that it accompanies. And there is animation. You get even a better idea. And yes, video has all made it all possible, right? You see very young children making use of all these, right? That is happening even in our country now. This photograph does not represent our country, but I have seen that happen in some of our own schools, right? Yep. And yes, movies have become a little bit problematic nowadays. I'll tell you why. First, we'll see what the slide is, right? The movies, I'm talking about movies in the language that you want to improve. Movies always arouse and sustain the interest of people from the beginning till the end. It arouses your interest in the beginning, and it sustains the interest very easily. I wish I were a movie director, right? When I enter the class, I think I'm a movie director, and I try to present everything visually. And if I succeed, my students are interested, right? Movies always arouse and sustain the interest of people, and hence it could be a useful tool to develop communication skills. How? Through entertainment. And this probably has coined this portmanteau word, right? Education plus entertainment. They call it edutainment, right? There are many videos available on the internet that provide you this kind of edutainment, right? It is entertaining, but it educates you as well, right? Television, this is the inevitable medium of the millennium, right? There are movies, there are talk shows, there are game shows, there are news casts, interviews, sports, and of course soap opera as well. Now there is something interesting for everyone on television, right? You may prefer one type of program, one type of channel, and your parents may prefer another type of program. Your sister or brother might prefer another type of program, but there is something interesting or something that interests all these people, various kinds of people on television. And the problem that I was talking about movies is that in all the movies nowadays, I see people from various language backgrounds speaking the language of your choice. Dubbing technology has changed this, right? Has changed movie watching experience so much so that when we were watching movies, when we were young as you, if it was a movie in English, we had to watch it in English without any same language subtitles from the beginning till the end. It was very difficult in the beginning. I could not understand much of it. But today I have reached a stage where I don't require subtitles. All that is because of the word that we saw in one of the slides, right? Exposure. I watched so many movies, right? That it is okay with me for if I watch even a movie from United States or UK or even Australian movies. Yes, Australian movies and TV serials, right? I have watched many. It is okay. I'm comfortable with all of them. Why? Because I watched all of them in English, and little by little, without even me being aware of it, I was acquiring the listening ability and understanding, assimilating everything and understanding. Oh, yes, this is the way these people pronounce this word. A lot of difference between British English and American English, I was able to understand by watching movies. Believe me. Yes. So this television also could be put to real good use if you are choosy and if you select the language of your choice, the language in which you wish to excel in. Now, books, yes, if I said basics and if I don't mention books, I would be doing injustice to the word basic. Books are very basic. They were it is the Ranjan invented. The printing press, and since then, publishing books has never stopped. In spite of e-publishing, publishing continues to flourish. Here in our city, there is a book exhibition once every year, probably in the month of January, right? And you will find people flocking in huge crowds to see what books have been published recently, to find out if a book they missed last year is available this year, and they buy a lot of books. The publishers themselves are surprised, pleasantly surprised, that there are readers of books. Yes, we are going to see why books are essential. Man's oldest and the best of friends, books. Books, why man's best friend? Because a book doesn't argue with you with a loud voice, right? It doesn't shout you down. Very quietly, but very sternly, very clearly, it tells you what is what. So books are man's oldest and best of friends. They are a treasure trove of knowledge. This has not been disputed till date, and a useful aid to learn and improve upon language skills, especially reading and writing. There are certain skills I focus more upon, and there are certain skills that I do not focus more upon. Writing is a skill normally I do not focus upon. I'll tell you why. Most of our examinations are written, most of our tests are written. Many competitions are written competitions, right? Essays, articles. You contribute a lot if you are asked to write. You contribute less or you participate less if the competition involves standing up, going on stage, facing an audience and speaking out your ideas, right? That is the reason why I concentrate more on listening and speaking. But reading is going to help speaking also. Reading is going to help in communicating your ideas from a big platform to a big group of audience as well. Yes, reading makes you ready. Reading provides you a lot of information, right? So through reading, you will be able to write better. That is also there. How books could be useful? Yes, till date, most of my teachers and most of the teachers who have been trained by me, and many teachers who are my colleagues in about 7 institutions that I work with, they all say only by reading books we are able to improve our vocabulary. The big treasure of words, their meanings, and of course how to use them. That is possible to be known to you only when you read a lot. Yes, reading any book is an education, right? Or you could read it for entertainment. I have read certain books, right? For example, let us say Irving Wallace's The Price, right? I read that book. It is an imaginary story. It's fiction, but the gentleman has done thorough research about how a Nobel Prize committee is formed, how Nobel Prizes are decided upon, and how these people are informed, where the prize distribution takes place. Right? All even the chandelier there is described so mm, very effectively with all minute details, right? That I think is not possible without having done some research, right? Yes, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's writing about. Yes, it's a story, but all the background is all real, right? Yes, it could be education through entertainment once again, and it could be an escape also. Let us listen to
So
one more
you
song.
are a maverick when it comes to speaking. You are the epitome of magical words. How do you do it? Give our young readers out there, how is it that you have such a powerful vocabulary?
I just read a lot, and that's the honest truth. I hardly ever looked up a dictionary. Just if you read enough books, you'll come across a new word. Is read widely. I believe it's the best education there is, the best entertainment there is, and the best escape there is.
So he said that, right? To escape from the everyday problems, you can read and you can get yourself lost in reading. That is what he says, right? Escape. But he has said education, entertainment. Yes. Now let us move to the radio. Many people ask me, radio? Who listens to radio? Listens to radio these days, right? But radio was very instrumental in me acquiring language skills. I was listening to the All Asia service of the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation when I was a teenager, because that was there was no commercial broadcasting corporations here in India at that time, and that was really interesting. And I was not aware that I was acquiring language skills by listening to them, right? Listening to the SBC. Yes, that the best possible tool for learning to speak through listening. If you want to listen to the language and then follow it up by speaking, I think radio is still there. If you're going to ask me what is wrong with television, what is wrong with movies, what is wrong with all the YouTube videos that is at our disposal, that's a big cornucopia, right? It has something for everybody. I can only say when it comes to audio visuals, the audio might prove to be sometimes a distraction. But when you listen, you close your eyes and listen, you are transported to a different world, right? You need to have a lot of imagination if you're just listening to some story, right? That is why I like these podcasts, right, where people have even read poetry. People start reading stories also for us, right? Nowadays I find a lot of audio books. I think that's really very good. No visual distractions. You are your own master. You create that world that is presented in the story by listening to it. And that is something creative, right? If you can create in your mind what you're listening to, or the place about the place which is being described in an audiobook, you're being creative, right? And in the process, you are learning a lot of words to describe a place. In the process, you are learning a lot of words to narrate a story. Yes, the best possible tool for learning. I have not changed my opinion all these years. I remain the same steadfast fan of radio, is to learn to speak through listening to the radio or any audio device for that matter. And listening is an important communication skill. I am coming back to listening again. The advent of frequency modulation radio, right? FM radio has revived interest in the radio. And there are community radios which are responsible for creating awareness among people about various uh, aspects of life like health, etc. Right now, I'll also share one of my experiences with you. Right, I was working in an institution, and the institution also had an FM radio station. And all of a sudden, the director of that station visited me in my institution and said, "Your services are required by the radio." And I said, "I've been a listener. I've never been a presenter." And he said, "No, no, presenting a radio program, all the technicalities will teach you, but we are badly in need of you." I said, "Why?" Most of our listeners, it's a community radio, right? It's not a commercial radio. It is FM radio. It reaches to people living around that station. Uh, Maybe the reach is 20 kilometers radius. Yes. And he said, our people have been demanding lessons to speak English through Tamil, right? And yes, you can do it. And believe me, it was really a great experience for me, right? I had a big following, right? Regular listeners who were always tuning into my program. That was the first time I had a lot of people over spread over bigger area who were my regular listeners. Mm. The advent, that is what I mean by that, right? Community radio. Now, I've been telling listening, right? communication skills, there are 4 skills. The order is LSRW. I think some of your teachers might have already given you this information. Listening, speaking, reading, and then finally writing. But strangely, I find that even when we are beginning the education of a little one in our country, we ask the child to write. But that is probably the child has already learned to speak the language by listening to its parents and the other members of the family, right? Okay. But I think even before writing, reading should be there. But now I think the scenario has changed a lot in the schools. Even when you were in school, it might not have been the same case, right? But right now, children are not taught the alphabet in the beginning. They are taught phonics, right? Phonics in the sense, the sounds of the language. The sounds of the language are taught to the children nowadays. Yes, education is undergoing a change, particularly primary education, kindergarten education, Montessori education, or primary education, whatever you call it. The idea is changing and technology is aiding it also. What should we do to improve communication skills? We saw what could help us improve communication skills, but what are we supposed to do? So this is it. Listen more, whatever language you wish to improve in. Speak more, read more, write more, edil mange more. Use all media, whatever medium is available, whichever medium is your favorite. Use that media to the fullest possible extent and get inputs and follow it up by you practicing. Get maximum exposure. Have an authority correct your mistakes. When I said this to one set of students, right, there should always be an authority by your side to correct you. If you're writing or if you're speaking, the students mistook me uh, thinking that I was talking about teachers. I said, no, not essentially teachers. Anybody who is good in this language at home, anybody who is good in this language in the neighborhood, he or she could really correct your mistakes, and that is the way you improve. You don't spend all the time in an educational institution, so the others also could be helpful to you. Sometimes others could be more helpful to you also if they are really excellent. Now you're going to ask me, listening. Why listen at all? The importance of listening hard, right? Really listening. Only through listening can speaking skill be developed significantly. You get exposure to the language only through listening, and that is why listening is very important. A child first learns the language through listening. All successful executives, politicians, and teachers, and whatnot, any other profession, right, have been excellent listeners. If you are a great speaker and if you are the preferred person in your organization as an executive to make a presentation, it is because you have been listening good, listening very well, right? And politicians, they thrive on the ability to communicate, right? And only if they listen to a lot of people and acquire a lot of information, will they be able to put that all together, stuck it away, and access it and use it as and when the situation demands it. So politicians need it more than anybody else, right? All the time. And teachers, how could a teacher be a teacher without having communication skills? That is it. Yes, all successful people have been like that. There is a speaker here, whom I met because we were organizing a program, and I was in charge of organizing the program. I went to welcome him, and he said, "You're very silent. You did not ask any questions. But you are the speaker. I'm all ears." I said, "I want to listen to you." He said, no, that is all from the stage. But right now, we were traveling, right? And right now, until we reach the venue, I would like to know what you would like to know about me. It was really kind of him, right? Many people would like to ruminate. Many people would like to meditate. Some people would like to be silent until they go on stage, right? This man was different. He wanted to talk. And I said, what makes you a successful speaker? What is the reason for your success as a stage speaker, right? You have spoken on stages, many variety of stages throughout the state, abroad, and you continue to speak on television on a regular basis. And there are many videos of you that are shared across social platforms, social networking, right? And he said, so you want to know why I am a great speaker? I listen a lot. He said, really, sir? So that's really surprising. I thought you would say, I speak a lot, I practice a lot, I rehearse a lot, and that is the reason I speak well. See, for me, listening is more important than speaking, he said. Coming from you, that is really strange, I said. And he said, finally, let us put an end to this. I'm not arguing. I'm telling you, through listening, I get all the information that I pass on to all my audiences, whether here or abroad. And that is what has earned me all this fame. My ears are already open. God, in his infinite wisdom, has kept our ears always open, and he has given us the ability to close our mouth when it is not to be open. That is what he said, right? And he continues to be successful. His name is Suki Sivam. He's a speaker in Tamil, right? That is what he said. Now, if you're going to ask me ways to develop listening skills, yes, you are already developing your listening skills, my friends. Let me tell you, all these days, I have been with you for at least 2 sessions that you attended, right? And those 2 sessions, I know that you were listening. I know that you were listening because you were responding. You were responding. Whether a question was asked or whether an opinion was given by the speaker, you were responding in some way or the other. And that actually makes me jealous of all your faculty in your colleges. Or if it is only Janki Devi College, I am really jealous of them. It is very difficult to get the attention of the students for a longer period of time. After the 20th minute, they are in their own world, right? And you are a disturbance. That is, the teacher is a disturbance, right? How to develop listening skills? By attending such programs, also you develop a lot of listening skills, right? Yes, in the classroom, you are surrounded by, I think you are all in different places now, but you're all listening to the same presentation. And that is how you develop your communication skills. The first skill is listening, remember. Ralph Waldo Emerson is not only a philosopher, but also a poet, right? You might have heard of him. And he said, all the great speakers were bad speakers at first, right? This is what I said. When I said, oh, my God, Mr. Nakiran is a great speaker. I'm really cowed down by him. I'm really a little bit flustered when I saw that his presentation was excellent. His presentation was extravagant, right? A lot of information, and he was doing it with elan, right? Very, very at ease. That is right? And you don't worry about that. You do your presentation is what all the great people told me, right? And that is why I'm here. And how can you improve your felicity of expression, right? Everybody speaks, but some people speak so effectively, so beautifully, so admirably well, right? Then what do we do? Listen to them, right? I think you must have listened already to this I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King Jr. It changed the very nature of the way the African Americans started fighting for their rights, right? He is a, shall I say, follower of nonviolence, right? But his words are very powerful. You should listen to his speech if you have not listened so far. I don't have it with me right now for the presentation for want of time. Well, listening, I'm asking you to listen and see who is listening here. Yes, I think the lady's name is Guana. I don't know how to pronounce that name, right? She conducted an experiment with the primates, right? Particularly this chimpanzee, right? She made the chimpanzee listen to a lot of words, right? Not sentences, mind you, words. And with every word that the chimpanzee listened to, it was made to see the picture related to it. And after a few months, not just 1 or 2 days, right? After a few months, the chimpanzee, on listening to the word, was able to identify that particular picture which related to the word quite easily. Maybe its vocal organs are not made for speech. Maybe its brain is not designed to encode speech and make you decode it. That is what communication is all about, right? When your brain thinks to communicate, it is encoding information. It is putting it into words. And through some medium or the other, it reaches the receiver, and that is called decoding, right? So all language is coding, right? Yes, it was able to decode. Maybe it was not able, it is not meant to encode information, but it was able to decode, right? Out of practice. Yes, so it says, I shall listen to. We should listen. To improve listening, the first thing, for improving any skill, you should have the desire to learn that skill, right? You should aspire to overcome weaknesses. You should aspire to overcome weaknesses means, yes, everybody begins a novice. Not everybody is a born expert. So we slowly, little by little, we overcome all our weaknesses and reach a stage when people say, oh, but he's a good communicator, right? Resist physical and mental distractions. When you are learning, there should not be any distractions, right? Sometimes the distraction might be physical, sometimes it might be mental. Many students come and tell me, sir, I come and sit in the class and try to listen to you, but the problems at home are bogging me down. I'm not able to concentrate on what you're trying to tell me, sir. I said, just go out, relax and come back. There are many ways teachers follow, right? That in order to get the students to get rid of their problems, right? But it is not possible. And then one day I spoke to him saying, well, do you think there is any household here without any problem-free family? Have you ever seen one? I asked, right? I was actually borrowing an idea from the Buddha, right? And he said, I think everybody has some problems. The intensity differs, but there are problems. So avoid those or resist those physical and mental distractions and try to concentrate. Initially, it will be difficult. All things are difficult before they become easy, right? Concentrate on verbal and body language. Now is the time for me to pause a little while and find out if anybody from the learned audience would like to tell me the difference between verbal and body language, preferably the students. Anybody? Difference between verbal language and body language? You can speak, right? Unmute yourself and tell me. Anybody? It's a big number there. I can see a huge number of students. Excuse me?
Please unmute and speak.
No, I don't get you. Anybody? Can anybody tell me the difference between verbal language and body language? I got tired of listening to my own voice for a long time, right? I now want to find out if you will be able to provide me that information.
Sir, verbal means any sound or voice when one uses the sound, that is verbal, uttering
Correct.
words as somebody has written. And the body language are the gestures, the expressions.
Yes.
The body language are essentially the gestures, I feel.
Excellent. And there are other people also. That was who was the speaker now?
I'm Suparna.
Suparna Gupta. Excellent. And I think the same idea is shared by Isha and Ona Mitchell also. They have given the same idea, right? Posture, gesture, expression, tone, pitch. Oh my God. My presentation is being done by all the students here, right? I shouldn't have chosen these basics, I think. Okay, grand. So many students know it already. I hope you don't get bored because I'm giving you the same idea, right? Let me continue the presentation now with the conviction that I am talking to the right kind of people because they know what is being spoken about here. Yes, concentrate on verbal and body language, right? Verbal language. Why is it called verbal language? Why shouldn't it be called nominal language or adverbial language or adjectival language? Why is it called verbal language? Does anyone know that? You told me very clearly, right? I surmise from what you have all shared with me that you have an understanding that if you use words to communicate, that is verbal communication. And if you are using your body to communicate, that is body language. Excellent. But right now, my question is, why call this language verbal language, written or spoken? Why call it verbal? Why not call it by some other part of speech? It could be even prepositional language, conjunctional language. I've always thought like this, right? No takers for that question? Why do we call it verbal?
Does verbal come from the word verbosity? Maybe that
Yes,
could
yes.
be.
No, it actually, it is from verb that you get verbal as well as verbosity. My question is, why verb? Why not the other parts of speech?
Because that is
And
showing action. That is showing some intent.
I like that. One magic word that you use is action, right? That is action. And I'll tell you something more also. Professor Mylappan was teaching me linguistics, right? And he said verbal language, verbal language. He was using the terminology over and over again. And he dictated notes. Once again said, first write verbal language. Sir, I said, why do you call it verbal language, sir? And many years ago, he told me, as a student, I listened to him. And he said, if you know a verb in a language, you will be able to communicate something, even if you don't know the other types of words. If you don't know the other parts of speech, also it doesn't matter. Sir, I don't understand. I said, can you give me an example? Because example is better than precept. So why don't you give me an example, sir? I asked him, and he said, oh, let us assume that you know only the word go in English. What part of speech is go? He asked me, and I said, sir, go is a verb. Yes. Somebody comes and asks you. Let us assume also that you don't know English even a little bit. You know only that word. A few words you know, and go is something that you know. And somebody comes and asks you in English, how do I go to the park, to this park, gives you an address, right? And not everyone is going to be able to say, go straight on this road, take a right turn once you reach the end of this road, walk a few yards, take the second left, and on your right side, the park will be there. Right? This is how instructions are given. Probably you have done, the students have done it recently, this exercise as route map or road map reading or writing, right? Instructions. Yes. He said it is possible to communicate the way with the help of just go. If you add body language to it, he said, and he told me, see, go, which means you go to a certain distance, right? Right. So you know one more word. Even if you don't know the word, your direction tells you, right? The direction in which you point is okay for the speaker, sorry, listener to understand. Go left, second left. Go right side park. And then he said, if it is a long distance he has to go, sir, then you have to say go. Somebody said pitch and tone, right? That is what I'm reminded of. Concentrate on verbal and body language. It is called verbal language because without verb, complete communication is not possible. Verbosity, yes, if you use a lot of words, you will find that every sentence that you have used is centered around the verb. Simple, right? Okay, concentrate on verbal language and also non-verbal language. Technically speaking, we call body language non-verbal communication or non-verbal language. Well, when somebody speaks also, the next point is, when somebody speaks, identify points as well as structures used. When somebody says something, try to get information that they are providing and also how they are articulating it, how they are expressing the idea, right? What kind of words they use. If you concentrate on that, you are turning into a very active listener. Is that all active listening is all about? No. Let us see some more points, right? If it is possible, if you are listening to a great speaker, always carry a notepad with you and take notes, right? If you read and create notes, it's called note making, right? This is note taking. Taking notes is more challenging, I know, because the book you can read the passage over and over again, but the speaker speaks and moves on to the next idea or topic or even some other concept, you have lost it. Some other aspect of the same concept also, you have missed the previous aspect. So take notes of speech. That develops your concentration, right? You will not be in any way distracted or disturbed when you focus, right? You have to take down, right? This has happened to me on many occasions when meetings were conducted. I was always interested in the task of what you call minute making. No, it was minute taking, because they were speaking and I was writing it down all the time, right? If you know shorthand, as they call it, no, shorthand, most of the journalists do it. If you know shorthand, you are at an advantage. But if you don't know shorthand, you have to depend on notes on it. That is, you jot down all the hints. And if a speaker is speaking, allow a speaker to finish before responding or evaluating. Whether it is a speaker speaking from a podium, from a stage, right, or a speaker talking to you, right? Don't interrupt when the speaker is speaking, right? That is what this line is trying to tell you, right? Otherwise, you lose, or the speaker might lose what he or she wishes to convey. And finally, as part of improving your listening skills, as a creative listener, construct a passage on notes taken of a speech, right? Mr. Balachandran is a great expert in the most of the meetings. He gives a complete summary, right? All the important points that he listens to. I have attended meetings side by side, right, along with him, and I found that, oh, he's here. Welcome, sir. Yeah, his reports, you have to read them to believe them, right? It doesn't miss a single point. Many speakers have said that I am not alone in this, right, in appreciating his skill. Thank you for coming, sir. I feel honored. And let us move on. Start speaking. After listening, you have to start speaking, right? Yes, the listening gives you inputs, and the outputs from you are going to be in the form of speaking, right? Start speaking. Where to speak? Start at home, move to college, continue at college, and then you will be able to speak anywhere you go, right? And you will be known for your communication skills. Very communicative, right? Very eloquent is the next stage, right? That is speaking in a way people admire. That is it. Remember, when you're speaking, you should remember all these things, right? What should you remember? Do not be too worried about pronunciation at first. Everybody's worried about pronunciation, right? Most of the time, when students hesitate to speak, I ask them, what's your problem? And they say, sir, I may pronounce it wrongly, and everybody may laugh. No, everybody was like you when they started off, right? And if you are going to continue to hesitate just because a few people are going to laugh you off, you are never going to improve. So do not be too worried about pronunciation at first. Gain fluency. And fluency is a very misunderstood word. Many people think fluency means speaking out very fast. Very fast. We are going to deal with that again when we are speaking about, when we will be discussing presentation, right? Gain fluency. What is fluency? Continuing to talk without any oohs and ahs or ums and other fillers, like, like what can I say? Sometimes I've seen people like this, right? What I want to say is actually, basically, what I wish to express is, let me see, what to say, you know, the speaker has not begun yet, right? That is not fluency. If you are able to put them all aside, and if you are able to continue to communicate whatever you think, right? If that is flow, right? It has to flow, and that is fluency. And so gain fluency first. That boy has fluency. You saw him, you watched him. That boy has fluency. He does not have accuracy in pronunciation. He does not have grammar. That is, grammatically, he may not be correct, right? In pronunciation, he might not be an expert, but he's able to communicate, right? As someone who has never seen a school at all, right? Accuracy in pronunciation and grammar can come later. And if you're going to ask me, sir, accuracy in pronunciation, what are the resources? How can we improve on them? I'm going to tell you that also. Grammar, that can come later. All these, right? Probably students who are moving or who have already moved over to the third year, to the final year of their degree program are worried, I'm going to lose touch with English. No, you will never lose touch with English, or you will never lose touch with the language of your choice, right? Why? Because your transactions are going to be in that language. Yes, grammar can continue to be learned. Pronunciation can continue to be learned even after you start working or doing your own business or indulging in trade or commerce. The next point that I wish to make is form a group of friends, because with friends you are more open, right? If there is a teacher, there is some hesitation to freely express yourself. When there are members of the family, elderly people, yes, you hesitate to be free in your expressions, right? But with among friends, you are yourself 100%, and you have no scruples about expressing ideas about any topic, right? So form a group of friends equally interested in improving language skills. That is very important. They also should share your interest in improving, right? Meet periodically, but be very, very particular about it, right? You have to be very strict with yourself. Meet periodically and regularly and have group discussions on interesting topics. And here we have someone who has been a director in training for placement, and group discussions are also part of the recruitment process nowadays, right? So if you do this, you will ace all group discussions that are part of the recruitment process. You will not be scared there. There'll be no fear of group discussions at all. Remember, see one-on-one interview or even interviewed by a panel, you answer questions. That is quite easy. Many people think group discussion is going to be easy because it is among friends or same age group or something like that. No. Each one is going to climb on the other, trying to prove himself or herself, right? It's a rat race, right? And if you are not confident in your subject, number one, and in your language, number two, you are not going to win, right? You need to know what you're speaking about, and you need to know how to speak about it. That is it. Let us see. How to improve grammar is what we are going to see.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer
I'm
from
sorry.
English with Jennifer. This is a very special lesson. It's the last lesson with my dear students from Brazil, Flavia and Andrea. We had to stop our lessons in 2020 because of COVID, but in early 2021, we were able to meet on Zoom. I wanted to teach the ladies a few more things before we said goodbye. Would you like to learn how to join ideas together? Let's practice coordinating conjunctions.
Okay, ladies, I'm going to show you a picture. Do you see? Oh, yeah. What do you see?
Baby elephant.
Yeah, baby elephant and
Her mom.
maybe the mom. It could be he or she. The baby elephant and its mother, because we don't know if the baby elephant is a boy or a girl. The baby elephant and its mother. And what's the baby elephant doing? Or where is it?
Close.
Close, close. Why do you think the baby elephant is close to the mother?
Because it's love.
Yeah, it loves its mom. How does it feel? How do you think the baby elephant feels? With it, say?
Protect.
Protected, safe, protected, right? The mother's protecting the baby. Good things. Something I heard that was good is because. There are different ways to join our ideas. Because is one of them. The baby is with its mother because it loves its mother. The mother is with its baby because it's protecting the baby, right? There are other ways.
I'm sorry. That is the lady, Jennifer. Probably some of you have visited her channel, or maybe you have subscribed to her channel as well, right? One of the best ESL teachers on YouTube. She has her own channel, right? Jennifer ESL. ESL would mean English as a second language, right? Those two people are not people with an English background. They are Spanish. They are from Latin America, right? So for them, English is the second language. And for all of us, I think maybe one or two might have English as their mother tongue. I do not know. But for most of us, English is the second language only. And for ESL, for English, learning English as a second language, I think she's one of the best teachers I've ever seen online. Right? You can subscribe to her channel. And she's an American, born in America, got married to a Russian, lived in Japan, and now she's back in America. And there are a lot of videos, right? Several videos that provide you a lot of inputs. You can improve your grammar through such videos. Okay, if she can teach such people, right? They are not even communicative. You can see that they are struggling to communicate, right? Even simple words, they are finding it difficult to say, and she teaches them. Yes, that will be very easy for us. Sometimes it might test our patience, yes, but be patient, right? Now, and if you're going to ask me how to improve pronunciation, this is my answer.
Hi, welcome to Daily Pronunciation. Today's word is rendezvous. This is a noun and a verb. As a verb, it means to come together or meet by arrangement. For example, you can say, Let's rendezvous at 6 o'clock at Jake's Bar. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to pronounce the word. Please watch closely how I use my lips, teeth, jaw, tongue, and facial muscles to say the word rendezvous. 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 Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.
A word a day. Imagine how many words they would have on their channel, right? It is there. sozoexchange.com. If you want, you can visit it. And there are other lessons for improving the language as well, not just pronunciation, right? I had a student from an international school, right? She came and joined the first year engineering, and she was pronouncing both these words, both the noun form and the verb form, in the same way. She said pronunciation instead of saying pronunciation. Pronounce is the verb, pronunciation is the noun, right? She was saying pronunciation. The effect of the pronunciation of the verb was there even when she was using the noun. My pronunciation got better, he said. No, I said it doesn't got better. You should say pronunciation. Got it? So yes, there are many words. That word that was on display, right? That was given as example for pronunciation, right? Rendezvous. The first time I read it rendezvous. I didn't know it had some French connection, and the way it is pronounced is not that. And rendezvous is the correct pronunciation. They even focus on facial muscles, lips, jaws, everything, right? So that's the best way to speak. Pronunciation. Okay. What about body language is what the next question crops up, right? Non-verbal assistants are there. Some people are entirely dependent on non-verbal assistants, those who cannot hear or cannot speak well also, right? So they have these non-verbal assistants, and some are given here. That is only representative in nature, but body language involves these three. Some of them were already given. I have not included those words exactly, but posture. How you sit speaks much of about yourself. How you use your hands speaks much about yourself. How you look at the person you're talking to, that speaks much. Are you avoiding eye contact? That speaks a lot about you. Your character, your ability, and whatever your problem is very clearly spoken loud and clear by your body, more by your body than by your verbal language, right? So be careful about your body language. The way you bear yourself, the way you stand, the way you sit, the way you walk, everything is important. The gestures that you make using your hands, open hands would actually mean you are open, right? There are many such things, right? I'm not going to delve deep into it for want of time. And eye contact, somebody mistook when I said eye contact and started staring at the people, right? No, I said, no, not like that. Very naturally, how would you look into the eyes of a person when you're speaking to him or her? Those are all essential for effective communication. Your verbal language should be accompanied by body language in order to make it more effective. This chart tells you what you don't say also is understood by people, right? Not open to communicating. The position of the legs is menacing. Wearing sunglasses even indoors, it is actually indicative of a person hiding something. But what is he hiding is what this question, the question asked here. Folding hands would mean aggressive or closed, right? So these are all some. Impatient to leave, hands inside pockets, right? And head tilted to one side when looking at you with a strange expression. It probably thinks that you are stupid, right? So learn to read and influence people through non-verbal communication. You can communicate non-verbally, and you can also read non-verbal communication. Yes, somebody said pitch. And this is the word that I prefer to use. Tone is necessary to make emotions clear. Imagine a situation like this, right? There is a policeman, and he has got a culprit, right? He has to arrest him. He's got a pistol in his hand, and he has to shout at him to put his hands up, right? If he says, "Please put your hands up, or I'll shoot you," that tone is not going to be helpful, right? But you know what kind of tone the policeman has to use, right? That is very, very important. When you talk to children, you talk in a very pleasing manner, very subtle, right? Very soft, That is different. When you are angry, it should show in your tone, right? I'm very angry with you. Right? Uh, An Englishman and one of our own people was traveling in a train, right? And the Englishman got down and met the other person. Said, "That man is very polite. He never got angry even once." And the other man said, "No, no, no. We do not know how to properly be angry in English. That is our problem, right?" Yes, tone is necessary to make emotions clear, right? That tone, feelings, well, this is something that we left out, right? When we were dealing with body language, face is the index of the mind, they say. And we have deliberately used the pictures of children because we are able to wear masks like this, right? But children don't wear masks. If they are happy, their face shows it. If they are bored or angry or sorry or hopeful or playful, proud, sad, or even scared, you can say so. You can very easily read their expressions, right? Those are feelings. It's a winning combination, right? Verbal language and non-verbal language. Verbal language would mean phonic, yes, as you said, sound, right? That was beautifully said. Visually perceptible signs, what you can see, what you can listen to, what you can see, both together form effective communication, right? So that is it. Use the right kind of words with the right kind of intonation, with the right kind of pauses, with the right kind of pronunciation, and use the right kind of body language. You will be a to use a phrase often used by Mr. Balachandran, a communicator par excellence. Why? These two make a good combination for effective communication. From there, if there are no questions on those topics, very briefly, I would like to say how to prepare a presentation and how to perform a presentation. Are there any questions? Because this is a slight shift, right? And to borrow an expression Mr. Nakiran used, I'm shifting gears, right? If there are no questions, I'll continue and you can save your questions for the end of the session, right? How to prepare a session? This is only one slide. Decide on purpose of a presentation. Madam, I'm taking more time for my presentation. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Please carry on.
Thank you for that. Right. To-do list for preparing a presentation. How to prepare a presentation. Decide on purpose of a presentation. Why am I making this presentation? That's the first question you should find the answer for. Then get to know the audience profile. I'm going to talk to a group of students who are interested in acquiring a lot of skills. Yes, then these are the things I have to highlight for them. Get to know the audience profile. Who are they? Whom am I going to talk to? And then start organizing your content. Yes, David Niven, an actor, a Hollywood actor, right? He went to a great writer and asked him for tips because he said, I'm going to write a novel. This is the first novel I'm going to write. Can you give me some tips for writing a novel? And the great writer said, your novel should have a beginning, okay, a middle, okay, and an end. Thank you very much, he said. And he came back and he wrote a novel, right? But look at it closely. It actually means the beginning, impressive beginning, right? How you begin with a bang. Middle, load it with information, load it with examples, and end, summarize whatever you have said, right? And another person said, what is introduction, what is content, and what is conclusion in a presentation, right? And this great person said, in the beginning, you tell your audience what you're going to tell them, okay? And in the middle, you tell them what you have to tell them. And finally, conclusion, tell them what you have told them so far. Right? That sounds funny, but if you look at it closely, it is right. You are introducing the topic and you are concluding the topic, summarizing your points, right? That's right. And the middle part is always what you have to say. And the next point that I wish to make is rehearse. Is that enough? Improvise, make it better. You know what you're doing, right? Even there is nothing wrong in standing before a mirror and looking at yourself and trying to find out if your body language is also on par with what you're trying to say, right? Improvise, keep improving, and then finalize. When you are satisfied, when you yourself are satisfied with your presentation, go ahead and make the presentation to your audience. Time your presentation. I didn't do that. And the next time I'm going to make it better because the topic also is time. time your presentation, in the sense, rehearse and try to find out whether your presentation is keeping within time, and acquaint yourself with the venue or the online platform, right? This I find difficult nowadays. Online platforms pose new troubles, where sometimes even great presentations are lost because of that. So acquaint yourself with the venue beforehand. You go and try to find out if everything is on order in a venue, if it is a physical venue, and try to find out our faculty here of your college. They were very helpful in testing out my presentation and approving, saying that everything is fine, you can go ahead with your presentation, right? That is required because this is an online platform. It is new for most of us. That is how you prepare. How do you perform? Well begun is half done. Every James Bond movie begins with an action sequence, right? Why? To capture the audience's attention, right? Always begin with a story, good enough. That breaks the ice, as they say, right? Yes, it brings the audience to you, right? They start identifying themselves with you. I do not know whether I was successful in doing it, right? Well begun is half done. And we were talking about speed, remember, when we spoke about fluency? Use moderate speed. Don't be too fast, don't be too slow. Too slow would put your audience to sleep. Too fast, people will say, what is he? What's the problem with him? I'm not able to follow him, right? Don't forget to smile. My problem is I can't stop smiling. Right? That is my problem. So don't forget to smile wherever it is required. Inform the audience the length of your presentation. Tell them this is how my presentation, this long, right? It might be for 1 hour. It might be for 90 minutes. Tell them this will be the length of my presentation. When shall we have questions? If you have a small gathering, right? Not 109 people, right? 109 people are there with me, right? 109 people, it's very difficult to be bombarded with questions in between. But if the audience happens to be a small number, nothing wrong in giving them the liberty of interrupting your presentation with questions to get clarity, right? So questions can be in the beginning, in the middle, or even at the end. It depends on the number of people who are listening to your presentation, watching your presentation. And if you are providing statistics in the form of a pie chart or maybe a graph, whatever, if you are providing statistics, don't expect everybody to understand the statistics that you present in the form of verbal form or even graphic form. Explain it to them. And the next point is ensure clarity, be clear. And sometimes you can even ask them, right, to get feedback from them whether you are clear. See, you gave me inputs regarding my voice not reaching you, right? You wanted me to be louder. Yes, that is also part of it, right? Clarity would mean audibility as well. And of course, relevance. If you have taken a topic, stick to that topic. Don't deviate. Don't go beyond. Don't forget the topic at all. Communicate well, right? You should be able to communicate well, both in terms of verbal language and body language. Use visual aids sparingly. Don't use too many pictures. Don't use too much video, right? Then it won't be your presentation. It will become a combination of many people's presentations, right? Yes, it will become a mashup. No, we don't want that, right? Then the focus is lost. So use all the visual aids that are at your disposal sparingly. And the impact on the audience, this is very important for people who are going to be presenters of the future. And those who are already presenting probably know this. This is by Albert Mehrabian, an American psychologist, right? What does he say? He says only 7% of the impact that your presentation makes is dependent on the content of your speech. Only 7%, right? The remaining 93% of the impact on the audience for a presentation or the presenter is all dependent on his body language or her body language and the tone that he or she uses, right? These are the three elements. What are the three elements of a presentation? Content, body language, and tone. So concentrate on your body language and tone equally well in order to make your presentation effective, because it does carry its impact. Remember, we have seen all the 4 skills, and we have seen the ways of acquiring those skills. We have seen the tools that we could use it, and we have seen using those tools how we could prepare ourselves for a presentation and how we could perform a presentation. And this is the magic word. Remember, practice makes one perfect. The proverb says so. And constant practice can make one an expert. Practice on a regular basis, you become an expert, right? Yes, good communicators are listened to, liked, and followed physically and on social networks. Excellent speakers are extremely successful, whatever be their vocation, right? With that, I would like to stop my presentation and take questions.
I think you have left out two important points at the time of presentation. One is the high energy level, high intensity of passion, and the eye contact, as you rightly said, smiling. And they have to be slow and steady, and they have to bring out their booming voice, rich baritone, and resonant voice. That is the most important thing. I think I've seen a lot of students from Janaki Devi Memorial College. They have been asking a lot of questions for the last 3 or 4 sessions. I found them to be above average. Most of the students, when they ask this, they're very slow and steady. The accent is excellent. And the vote of thanks by Ruby and Nirmala Muralidhar. I think we need to observe people while they are talking, communicating to others. By observing people, because I studied in Tamil medium, and I have transformed myself by observing people. When I was the manager of operations of Madras Management Association, I was given the difficult task of evaluating the trainer's credential. And mind you, I have met most of the ladies, Army Colonel wives, Major wives. My goodness, amazing trainers. And they used to come and discuss with me. They will open the top. What is the objective of the module? What is the course content? For whom it is concerned? What are the key takeaways? I learned a lot. I became a trainer. And this is what I want to conclude. And one thing about Sundara Bharathi, when I was the director of career development and placement during my tenure with KSR Group, I have not been able to place in one company called Financial Software Services. I have given the hardware task of transforming students to meet the corporate expectation of financial software to Sundara Bharathi. Before I retired from college, I told Sundara Bharathi, before I retired from this college, I want at least 6 people to get placed in financial software. And Sundaran Bharathi understood the expectation, what I explained to him. He was able to place, I think, 6 to 7 students. And that Raja Raghuram was very high. Bala, the students have improved a lot. They got selected. That is Sundara Bharathi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the extra information that you provided to the students, and thank you for reminding me of the good times of the past. I'm waiting for questions. Maybe questions are in the chat.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a, I would use the same term, powerful presentation, which you were talking about in the beginning. It was indeed a powerful presentation with the, audio as well as video this time. And there are some questions in the chat box. Right now, there are some compliments for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw one. A captivating talk. I think Suparna Gupta, who gave me the answer for that, right?
Yeah.
You have not only reinforced the basics of communication and presentation, but sparked an interest in polishing our skills further. I like that. Indirectly, she's trying to tell me that the communication skills are already there. Only thing is they need a little bit of polishing. I know your communication skills are really very good because I've been listening to you asking questions. I've been listening to you sharing your ideas to the at least 2-3 resource persons, right? I was there throughout Mr. Nakir's session and during the questions session also. Ruby Bharadwaj wanted to say something.
Sir, I just wanted to let you know that Suparna Gupta is one of our colleagues. She teaches at Shama Prasad Mukherjee College.
My goodness, I'm sorry.
Not at all, not at all.
Suparna, I wish you had unmuted and spoken. Suparna?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I really like the talk a lot because I always appreciate teachers who stick to the basics. And, I also have a habit of continuously reinforcing the basics. Okay. So from the title and everything, your voice, your tone, the way you presented, everything is so perfect. And I love this title, Back to Basics. So thank you so much.
The topic was actually chosen by Madam Nirmala Muralidhar. The credit
She's
goes to her
another.
if you say that. Huh?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So she has been training us all through these years, and so many things we have learned from her. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your participation and your good ideas as well, ma'am. I think
Thank you,
there is
Mr.
Miss Aish.
Sundara Bharti, for that excellent presentation. And
Okay.
of course, we were discussing even before you started presenting. Some of the things that you spoke about, listening, reading, writing, we do all these when we do language development in children. So it took me back to my class on child development, actually, when you were talking about, how children learn language and things like that. How we talk about the four skills, listening, speaking, reading, writing, in that order.
Okay.
And I really like the way you emphasized eye contact, which is so very important when one is communicating. And we do find a problem, with visually impaired children because of that, because the lack of eye contact, and on the whole, I think our students would have really found it very meaningful, especially the students who are pursuing a course on life skills education, because they have a huge chunk on communication, interpersonal communication and things like that. So I'm sure they would have found it extremely useful. I found it, very, very mesmerizing. I really was glued to your talk all through. Thank you so much for accepting. As for the title, it was me and Mr. Bhanukumar. So I can't take the credit totally. So he was
Mr. Bhanukumar
also,
has role to play.
yes, he was also part of it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I
Aishwarya,
see Aishwarya Singh.
yeah. Aishwarya, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Good evening, teachers, and good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I am really very curious to know that the people from South, they speak really good English, like their fluency, their pronunciation, that is really so good. Even if I try to, copy their accent and everything, because I like that too much. And being from North, I can't speak in that way. So I just want to know the reason, like, why are they so good in English?
See, I don't know the exact reason for that, but what I'll tell you, I have seen great speakers of the English language, not just from the South, from the North as well. Some of my students, some of my fellow students, right, when I did my MA at Madras Christian College, they were all from North India. And their English was really very good, right? I had people from Kerala, I've had people from, particularly the people from the Northeast. I think some of the states in the northeastern part of our country, our, our students are exposed to English better than in other institutions. I think there are many established institutions here which have been flourishing even from the British era. And I think that is the lineage, right? That might be one of the main reasons. And from the Northeast, I think the reason why many people are good at English is it has been accepted as the official language also. That is it. But I have seen good speakers of English from everywhere, right? Everywhere, not just. Yes, there may be more. There may be more here, yes. But the reason I can tell you, there are some institutions here. There are some institutions of higher education here. The departments of English, they are very strong. They have continuously been strong. They have consistently been strong. And I find that all my professors in the institution that I studied have been replaced by young people who are very good in their language, thanks to those professors. An added advantage to them is they are tech savvy, right? They're using technology and they are teaching their current day students, right? And that is one of the reasons why education did not stop for many of them during the COVID-19 lockdown.
Thank you so much for the answer, sir. And I want to say the session was really amazing. Like, many speakers just use the complex English, and the presentation was the presentation consists of really easy words. So I get it really easily. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Aishwarya Singh. I'll tell you why my words are simple. I'm very simple. Right? A presentation should reach you. I am not here to promote myself. I am not here to prove to you that my vocabulary is strong, right? There are people who are really amazing, right? You have watched one person, right? Shashi Tharoor. Sometimes when he speaks, you get a feeling that he is speaking a very entirely different kind of English, right? So much so that sometimes you miss the point. But this presentation is meant to inform you and encourage you to improve. That's all. And that is the reason probably it's simple.
It really works, sir. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, and the pleasure is all mine. Anybody
Mr.
else?
Mr. Sundara Bharti.
Yes, sir.
When I'm doing my MA in public administration, one of the professors recommended strongly to improve our vocabulary, to read a book titled How to Improve Your Vocabulary in 30 Days Time by Norman Louis. If you pronounce it S silent, when you write it, Norman Louis. That is one of the books to which help you to figure out and crack TOEFL language when you want to go abroad for higher studies.
When you were the director, sir, you shared this idea with us on a platform, right? And what happened was the principal at the time, I think Dr. K. Rameshwaran, he ordered the book and provided it to all the pre-final year students.
Oh, great.
And he said every department also should have a copy of it.
It's a must-read book by all the students because some of them would be willing to go abroad. They may be aspiring to go abroad. To be quite useful.
Yes, preparing for TOEFL or IELTS, that will help a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karya.
Thank you, sir. Shweta Bisht, appreciation. We learned so many things. Thanks a lot, sir, for this amazing session. Anybody else? Any other question, please? You're being kind when you're.
Any other questions? Please unmute yourself and ask.
No questions. I only say, keep communicating, keep giving it your best, and don't ever hesitate to communicate.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Naba.
My question is, sir, how to deal with when people laugh at you on wrong pronunciations?
That's a nice question, right? Let me tell you something, Naba. When I was a student myself, I used to be laughed at often. Do you know why? I was over enthusiastic. Whenever the teacher said, who will read? I will always spring up. I'll jump up and say, sir, I will read. Madam, I will read. Miss, I will read. This was my habit, right? And I was always laughed at. But all the reading opportunities that I did not miss has taken me thus far. People will laugh at you when you make an attempt which looks funny. But if you stop making attempts, your attempts will continue to be funny and people will continue to laugh at you. Don't worry about people who are laughing at you. They are not going to be around always. You are going to move on, move up, move further, be better. So don't worry about them. See, once I said, he calls me a fool, sir. This is one complaint that I made to one of my teachers. And my teacher said, so you're angry? Yes, sir. You please punish him, sir. And he said, well, if he calls you someone without eyes, what would your feeling be? Sir, I will laugh, sir. My eyes are there. Very much nothing wrong with my eyes. At the time, I was not even wearing spectacles, right? So, yeah, I'll laugh at him, sir. That is a joke, sir. If he says, I have no eyes. You have brains? Yes, sir. You have the thinking capacity? Yes, sir. Then why should that make you angry? You know what you're doing. You know you are doing something to improve yourself. And if in the process you have an undesirable audience who think it is funny and not meaningful, don't worry about them. Brush them aside and keep moving forward is what I say. Have I got you? Has it got you?
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Don't worry about that.
Mr. Sundara Bharti, your next session is on time management, and you managed your time beautifully today.
Yeah.
Yes,
thank
5:30. I can
on
see
the
that.
dot, on the dot. You know,
that's
you really managed it so well.
Very good, very good.
Otherwise, you would call me a hypocrite, man. Speaking about time management, but not managing time.
You haven't spoken about it as yet. It's still on the way, you know, like so.
Yes.
But that's something you have managed so beautifully and conveyed what you wanted to convey. It has reached the audience, and that's what communication is all about. So
thank you.
It served its purpose, more than served its purpose, I would say.
That's grand. That's grand. That's what makes me happy. Satisfied. A dash of humor improves all communication. Perfectly expressed by you. But I said don't crack jokes during a presentation also. Right? See, jokes have to be in the right place at the right time for the right kind of audience. Because not everyone will enjoy a joke, right? You have to be very careful with jokes, right? You should not offend anybody. All that is there. That is why I said you be careful with humor. Being humorous is acceptable, nothing wrong in it. You get more friends if you're humorous. But in being humorous, you should not offend anybody. As simple as that.
Hello, good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, of course, Vidhi Jain. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, I just want to say that I loved your session. Like, I got to learn a lot from it. And like what Aishwarya said, that you spoke quite basic, very simple English. So that is something that I really love because that this is something that I believe that when you're communicating with a mass of people, a group of people, which you have no idea how much good their language skills are, be it Hindi, English, or whatever. So you don't know how good they are in that particular language. So it's best to use simple language, rather than showing off with some, complicated words or technical jargons. So I really love this about your presentation that you kept the language quite simple and easy to understand. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you that you found that as a positive point, right? Vidhi Jain has been giving feedback every time a speaker speaks, right? I've been noticing that. Yes,
So these
you are a
sessions
communicator.
are being organized for us. If we will not listen, if we will not provide the feedback, then who will?
I
You're
want
taking
more
your
and more
time
people
out
to.
to, yeah, like you're taking your time out and you're providing us with such valuable sessions. So the least we can do is, provide you with the feedback that yes, your words have reached us. We have gained that knowledge.
No, in meeting so many people in one platform and listening to you people speak, right? I get an idea of what kind of language you people can actually use, right? And this is an exposure to me, right? I talk about exposure to you, right? And I am always ready to receive exposure, right? Get exposure if there is an opportunity. And that is why I say I should thank Mr. N.C. Balachandran, Mr. Bhanukumar, Madam Nirmala Muralidhar, and her team of faculty who are in charge, and of course the student representatives who have been helping all this organization, right? And yes, you helped me with the technical side of it also. I should thank you for that also. Yes, and I'll let you in on one secret, right? The reason why my language is simple is that is what I know.
And so that's completely fine. Like that's completely fine. Even my language is quite simple. I'm not that good at English either. So I think that's fine. We're getting through the day, so that's all that we need.
I am happy that you are not complaining. He's supposed to be speaking about English, and his words are very simple. If that's not a complaint, I'm very happy about it. Right? If I have reached out to you, and if I have proved my point, thank you very much, because you were attentive also.
Yes, sir, and that was not at all a complaint. That's
Yes.
me being thankful, sir. Me being grateful. So, yeah.
I'm very thankful to you all for being a great audience, right? Very attentive, ref, and the number was really big until the very end.
Can we all unmute for a group photograph, please? Everyone, participants. Unmute your cameras for a group photograph.
Now I see you, madam. Suparna Gupta, madam. Rupi Bharatwaj, madam. Do all these students belong to Janki Devi only?
No, they are from different colleges.
That is grand. That is grand.
Universities as well.
Great, great. I feel honored to have been given the opportunity to address them all.
You're getting noticed now.
Thanks to you also. Thanks to you. Thanks to madam.
Pleasure is ours.
Photograph taken?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Taking the photograph.
And Vidhi, what about the feedback link? Have you shared it?
Ma'am, I've shared it on the chat box. I'll share it again.
No, it's fine. If you shared it, it's fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Do we have any other questions?
Sir, I want to ask something.
Please
Sir,
go ahead.
Sir, I have a stage fear and I have taken a lot of courage to ask this question also. Sir, how can I get away from that?
Rubal Hada. Stage fear
Rubal
is not
Hada.
actually fear. Pardon?
Sir, Rubal Hudda.
Rubal Hada. Okay. I stand corrected. I'll tell you something. Stage fear is not exactly fear of the stage. It is fear of the audience. I had stage fear, but now I'm a performer. Performer in the sense, not merely making presentations, right? I do a lot of performance. When there is a meeting of all the teachers of the 7 schools that I am the academic secretary of, I have to perform before them, right? Students, okay. Teachers, all teachers, remember? Fear of the stage is not stage fear. Right? Stage fear is actually fear of the audience. My suggestion is go on stage when there is nobody in the audience, right? Go to an empty auditorium, stand on the stage and make your presentation. Take only close friends with you who will be your strongest critic but will not laugh at you, because one of our friends said, people are laughing at me, right? Take friends. The best friend is always one who finds your faults, tells your faults here in order to urge you to improve, right? So take such a person and do it. And start with a small audience. Move with a bigger audience. Whenever you get the opportunity to make a presentation, even in the classroom, do it. Everything is difficult before it becomes easy. That is what we call teething trouble, right? The child, when the teeth start growing, the child faces a lot of pain here and it starts shouting. At least you know that there is a problem, right? The child doesn't even know what the problem is. So don't be worried. It will be difficult, maybe 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. After that, you will be actually creating fear in the minds of the audience. If your presentation is so, you will look straight into the eyes of the audience, right? This is called lighthouse effect. Looking into the eyes of as many people in the audience as possible with confidence. Well, confidence comes from that magic word that I used in my presentation, practice. Right? If there is something difficult that you find difficult to do, keep doing it over and over again. The difficulty will be lost very soon. And it will become easy.
Thank you, sir.
Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's all.
So another thing that I'd like to say is, you said you used to read a lot to improve your language skills. That is something that I have update and I'm still been doing it. When you want to excel in any language, I strongly agree that reading is the core point. If you read in that language, just read a novel, read newspaper, read articles, and your language skills will automatically improve. You don't even need any coachings or anything. Just read, watch, listen, and your skills will improve. So that reading is something that has helped me a lot in improving my language skills.
You are an ambassador for reading for the young generation. I have been under the wrong notion that the young generation are not interested in reading beyond Instagram and Facebook. But Vidhichain is trying to tell me, if you wish to improve in any language, you have to read something in that language, right? Any kind of literature. It might be newspapers, it might be articles in magazines, it might be novels, it might be short stories. Yes, I do agree with you 100%. I'm happy that the next generation also is going to read a lot. Certainly, a few of your fellow students here, the friends who attend this session and are listening to you, might be encouraged to read themselves, right? Thank you for that, Vijay.
Sundara Bharathi, I would like to add to your this thing. I started my career in HR for personal administration, having worked in New Delhi, Vizag, Kakinada, and Hyderabad. I never thought I'd be moving over to marketing administration and director marketing, because I've been asked to read 2 books by Dale Carnegie: How to Win Friends and Influence People, How to Stop Worrying and Start a Living. These 2 books is a must read by all the college students. How to Stop Worrying and Start a Living, How to Win Friends and Influence People. After having read that book, I became highly successful in my marketing.
Books do influence us. Books do inspire us. Books do urge us into action. Yes, sir.
So we have 3 recommendations. Thank you, sir.
Dale Carnegie will be very happy today. He's being quoted.
Sir, can you please repeat the name of the books?
Books. No, unmute yourself, please.
Please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
I think that's Norman Vincent Peale.
No, that is Dale Carnegie.
That's Dale Carnegie. It's a power of positive thinking.
That is Norman Vincent Peale, correct.
Yeah.
Because I have read that book at Kakinada.
And there was one for vocabulary.
The one for vocabulary, sir.
How to improve your vocabulary in 30 days time. How to improve your vocabulary in 30 days time by Norman Louis. When you pronounce it Louis, when you write it Norman Louis. I think you have read the book, Bharathi?
Yes, sir, because it was with us, right?
First class book. Excellent book. I improved my writing after having read that book. But when we were studying in college, there was no placement department, there was no trainers. In 1971, when I finished my MA in public administration, I had to be on my own to get a job for me. Thankfully, because I shone very well in the sports, I got selected in the bank job, State Bank of Mysore. I got registered as employment exchange at Bangalore. That's why I was called for the interview. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So on behalf of the Department of Human Development and Family Empowerment, Janki Devi Memorial College, I would like to thank the resource person for our today's session, Mr. Sundara Bharathi, for the powerful presentation. I'll say it again. And communication skill is something which is essential for all of us at all the stages of our life. And good communication is a bridge between confusion and clarity. Thank you so much, sir, for conducting a session on such a useful topic which is required for all of us. Thank you so much once again. And I would also like to thank my fellow coordinators, Ms. Nirmala Murlidhar and Dr. Ruby Bhardwaj, our student coordinators, Anshul Kapoor and Vidhi, and the poster designers, Deepthi and Anima. Thank you, Mr. Balachandran, for always being there. I really feel happy, whenever I see you with the same enthusiasm. You're always there in the session. Thank you so much. Participants, will see you on Tuesday on 21st for another session. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And please fill up the feedback form and submit it on time.
May I leave?
Yes, Mr. Sundara Bharathi, you may leave. I'm sure you must be very tired by now.
No, not at all. I feel refreshed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Look forward to your next session. I think, Vidhi, you shared it very much in time. They must have filled up by now. Right?
Yes,
so we can close it.
Received a lot of. Yes,
you can also just check it once again.
I find a remarkable change in your speaking skills and your vocabulary from last semester to this semester.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I like your confidence also.
That was from the starting, I can say.
Thank you, ma'am. Means a lot.
Bless all of you. Stay safe. And I think we can close it now. I'm sure people must have filled up the form. Participants, you can leave the session. It's over now. See you next week, Tuesday, same time, same place.
Thank you all. I'll just end the meeting in next 1
Thank
minute.
you, Kirna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma'am, shall I close the form now?
Yes, Vidhi. आपने बहुत पहले शेयर किया था ना?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very sure all of them must have filled it by now.
Yes, ma'am. We've received quite a lot of responses.
You can close it. Okay, thank you, participants. I'm ending the meeting. We'll see you on Tuesday, 21st September. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.